Welcome back to Market Headlines. Indonesia has officially restricted all passenger travel from India starting Sunday following discoveries on imported COVID-19 cases from the South Asian country, whereas recent of a surge of coronavirus cases was overwhelmed its health system.
The Indonesia's Investment Coordinating Board, or BKPM, recorded that investment realization in the first quarter of 2021 was 219.7 trillion rupiah. This realization grew 2.3% from the previous quarter and rose 4.3% year-on-year. BKPM said that the realization of this investment absorbed a workforce of more than 300,000. In more detail, investment realization in the first quarter of 2021 consisted of domestic investment of 108 trillion, or equivalent to 49.2%, while foreign investment was recorded at 111.7 trillion, or the equivalent of 50.8%. Foreign investment is still dominated by Singapore and China, respectively $2.6 billion and $1 billion.
Ini ada beberapa data yang menarik sekali yang perlu saya sampaikan, bahwa sekalipun di era pandemi COVID, realisasi investasi untuk khusus foreign direct investment ini sudah mulai stabil. Kenapa saya katakan mulai stabil? Waktu di kuartal keempat itu FDI kita kalah dibandingkan dengan PMA. Sekarang udah mulai melebihi daripada PMDN. Sekarang PMA kita mencapai 50,8%. Sementara PMDN itu 49,2%.
Meantime, by sector, investment realization in the first quarter of 2021 flowed profusely to the housing sector and industrial estates and offices, amounting to 29.4 trillion rupiah. And the second position was occupied by the base metal industry, metal goods, not machinery, and other equipment, 27.9 trillion rupiah. From Jakarta, Ade Firmansyah for IDX Channel.
Many countries, including US, UK, Kuwait, France, and Canada, have banned flights from India, citing COVID-19 cases and the double mutant virus being found in the country. Iran, Kuwait, Indonesia, and United Arab Emirates are the latest additions to the list of the countries that have banned India from their citizens' travel list. Worldwide, COVID-19 cases is surging as well. So, on the other hand, Jakarta Composite Index and Global Index condition is mainly in the red zone. So does this have further correlations with the travel ban? So here in the studio, we are connected to Frankie Prasetyo as head of equity trading MNC Sekuritas Medan to examine more about this. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, Clara. Good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. My pleasure. So I would like to review a bit on Jakarta Composite Index, if I may, that fell into 0.6% at the end of trading the first session to be 5,980. But at the closing market, we can see that closing market, it went worse, and it went down to 5,964. And there are some sentiments that affecting the GCI for this week. And among other things, an increase in COVID-19 cases in India. What do you have in mind about this?
Actually, India is one of Indonesia's biggest trading partner. So the increase in COVID-19 cases in India is certainly not a good thing for Indonesian market. But if we see from the market reaction, actually so far the reaction is quite tame, quite tame and quite muted. Some decline, but there is no panic as what happened last year. So, during the COVID case, seems like investors are currently better prepared. But of course, investors have to be better prepared and see if there's interesting valuation, they have to be ready to buy. Let's say when the market gives them more discounts.
All right, sir. So this is the best momentum for buyers, for the new investors here. But then, sir, not only Indonesia, but any other countries also banned travel from India. And yet at the same time, there is a decline in global index and JCI movement. So do you have this has a strong correlations between this?
Okay, I believe that the decline in global index has some correlation. But if we look at what happened in the market during the COVID crash, then the correlation is not that strong. What I mean is, in fact, if we look at Dow Jones closings on Friday, it went up 227 points. Even though India's COVID case is on like the headline news around the world, but the Dow Jones keep on rising. And in fact, even in today's market, some Asian countries and European market is also experiencing an up market today. So yes, there's some correlation, but it's not that strong.
Oh, it's not that strong in your opinion. Okay, sir. This is an interesting point in here. So which sector that you think that is heavily impacted by this travel restriction?
I think sector that is heavily impacted, it will be like the transportation during the travel, because we cannot go to India, and they also cannot go to Indonesia and a lot of countries. But since India is a massive importer of commodities, then I believe like commodities price will also be impacted, because India is importer for oil. They are a big importer for oil, gold, coal, and CPO. So we can see like today the market for the commodities is quite not that good.
All right, sir. So we can underline it is because Indonesia and India has a strong relations, a trading partner that really affected Indonesia and here, while in the commodity and also in the travel sector. But then, sir, what is actually the current emergent trend of Jakarta Composite Index right now?
Actually, as what our transaction numbers suggest, Indonesian capital market shows a declining transaction volume. From January, it is like very high in January and February, but it declined during the March and April. So we can see like it is a declining trend in transaction in DCI, in Indonesian capital market. But a different story emerges from another asset class, cryptocurrency, for example. They experience a very strong bull, right? But I do believe when the coin trend subsides, investors are going to come back to the Indonesian capital market, because we have a very interesting valuation. We also have a very interesting growth story. So now it's so I believe Indonesian capital market will have its comeback.
All right, sir. It's interesting that you say that in the red zone, in this meantime, the red zone, it is time for investor to come in. But do you think that the corrections will be happened and sooner, later?
I do think that maybe it will have a correction, right? But if we look from the history from last year, a correction is a good time to buy for investors, because if we look at the Indonesian current valuation, because the market is not stable, because the market is very, very volatile, then a lot of institution money, they cannot go in emerging market just yet. So we are like currently in a very cheap zone. So at least every decline should be an opportunity for investors to add their investing shares.
So this is a good opportunity for the investors to come in, to chip in into Indonesia's market, Indonesia's capital industry market. Okay, sir. But then when we talk about industry in here, banking industry is one of the full resistant industry, if I might say. But what do you think about the appetite of investors in the banking industry right now?
Okay, within the banking industry, currently the market has a big appetite on digital banking.
I see.
But if we set aside the digital banking, and if we look at the big four companies, the big four banks, which is the market proxy for Indonesia in capital market, we actually can see that the companies are in a good shape, and they are also have ample of liquidity. Like if we see that the current LDR, the loan to deposit ratio, is like somewhere 83.6%. That is ample liquidity, and as we all know, banking is the engine of economy. So if the economy is going toward the reopening stage, then credit is needed. And if the credit is needed, then it will be then banking industry will be the beneficiary of the market opening.
All right, sir. That's really good point, sir. Sir, due to the limited time, we have to end this conversations. It was a very interesting conversations. Thank you for your time with us, sir.
Thank you, Clara.
Have a nice evening,
for having me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, viewers, stay with us because market headlines will be right back after this quick break.